For generations, families nationwide have convened around the dinner table, eagerly diving into buckets of KFC's original recipe chicken, alongside creamy mashed potatoes, gravy, and fluffy biscuits. KFC once epitomized fast food success, setting the bar high for competitors striving to capture its irresistible charm. Yet, today's reality paints a different picture. Once hailed as the fried chicken king, with Colonel Sanders as its beloved mascot and finger-licking good recipes, it now struggles to keep its head above water, and its glory days seem distant, with peak sales and market dominance a thing of the past. How did this iconic chain lose its luster, fading from the forefront of American dining culture? In this video, we delve into the captivating tale of KFC, tracing its path from inception to uncertainty. The story kicks off with a man we're all familiar with, Colonel Sanders. Harlan Sanders was born on a quaint farm in Henryville, Indiana, on September 9, 1890. Life started out tough for young Harlan and his family. Despite owning a large piece of land, his parents, Wilbur David and Margaret Ann, struggled to make enough money as farmers. When his father broke his leg in a fall, their situation grew even more challenging. To support the family, he took on the role of a butcher, but sadly, tragedy struck when Wilbur developed a severe fever and passed away in 1895, leaving Harlan, at the tender age of 5, to become the caregiver for his family. Overnight, Harlan had to grow up fast, learning the value of hard work and responsibility in the face of adversity. This early experience would shape the resilient and determined spirit that would later define Harlan Sanders as the legendary Colonel Sanders of Kentucky Fried Chicken fame. After Wilbur's passing, Harlan's mother faced dire circumstances. Left with little money and 3 children to care for, she embarked on a journey to find work wherever she could. Eventually, she secured a job at a tomato canning factory and sometimes took sewing jobs for extra income. This meant she was often away from home, leaving young Harlan to look after his siblings. To lighten his mother's load, Harlan learned to cook at a tender age, and by 7, he was already adept at preparing meals, taking charge of the kitchen when his mother was away. Determined to contribute more, Harlan sought employment and landed his first job as a farmhand at just 10 years old in 1900. Margaret made the tough decision to remarry in 1902 for the sake of her family's well-being, and they moved to the suburbs of Indianapolis to live with her new husband. Sadly, he wasn't welcoming to Margaret's children, including Sanders, creating a difficult atmosphere at home. Feeling unwelcome and unhappy, Sanders eventually left for Clark County to escape his stepfather's unkindness. Life away from home wasn't easy, but Sanders was determined to find better opportunities. He worked on a farm in Greenwood, Indiana, earning $10 to $15 a month, with a room provided. Balancing work and school became a challenge. He had to feed the animals before heading to class. Despite his efforts, Sanders left school at 16 after completing the 6th grade, feeling it wasn't his path. Seeking a fresh start, he sought refuge with his uncle in New Albany, Indiana. With his uncle's guidance, Sanders landed a job as a streetcar conductor, but the rhythm of city life didn't hold his attention for long. Driven by a sense of adventure, Sanders decided to enlist in the U.S. Army. Despite being underage, he managed to join up and found himself stationed in Cuba. However, military life didn't suit him for the long term, and he was honorably discharged in February 1907 after fulfilling his duties. Back on civilian soil, Sanders embarked on a journey of career exploration. His next stop was Sheffield, Alabama, where his uncle, working for the Southern Railroad, secured him a position as a blacksmith's helper. Though he mastered the job quickly, the wages weren't enough to satisfy his ambitions. Seeking better prospects, Sanders relocated once more, this time to Jasper, Alabama, where he found employment as a trained ashpan cleaner for the Northern Alabama Railroad. After his stint as a blacksmith's helper, Sanders took on the role of a steam engine fireman, tending to fires and leading his team for nearly 3 years. However, a bout of illness led to his dismissal in 1908 due to insubordination. Undeterred, Sanders found work as a laborer with the Norfolk and Western Railway. During this time in Jasper, Alabama, Sanders crossed paths with Josephine King, a local girl whose father was a respected merchant. Love blossomed between them, leading to their marriage shortly thereafter. Together, they welcomed 3 children into their family. Following his marriage to Josephine, Sanders left his job to pursue new opportunities. He found work as a fireman on the Illinois Central Railroad after relocating to Jackson, Tennessee with his wife. While working as a fireman by day, Sanders pursued law studies at night through LaSalle Extension University. However, his promising career took a hit when he lost his job due to a disagreement with a colleague. Josephine, his wife, felt the strain of their financial instability and returned to her parents' home with their children. Despite setbacks, Sanders remained determined. He eventually found his footing as a lawyer in Little Rock, where his skills earned him a solid reputation and financial stability for 3 years. However, a courtroom altercation with a client shattered his progress, leading to his dismissal and tarnishing his reputation. With few options left, Sanders reluctantly returned to Henryville to live with his mother. It was a humbling experience for him, as he had hoped for a better life at that point. Yet his struggles with his temper continued to impede his path to success. Despite numerous setbacks, Sanders remained undeterred in his quest for success. In 1916, he found work as a laborer on the Pennsylvania Railroad. Later, he moved his family to Jeffersonville, where he tried his hand as an insurance salesman for Prudential Life, but was let go due to insubordination. Undeterred, he moved to Louisville and landed another sales job with Mutual Benefit Life of New Jersey. As the ferryboat business boomed, Sanders seized an opportunity, opening his own ferry company in 1920, operating between Jeffersonville and Louisville. Though he initially sold most of the shares to secure funding, his business flourished, earning him the position of company secretary. Seeking additional income, he briefly served as secretary of the Chambers of Commerce in Columbus, Indiana, before resigning due to a lack of fit. With newfound capital from selling his ferry company shares, Sanders ventured into manufacturing acetylene lamps. Despite high hopes, the venture failed spectacularly with the rise of electric lamps by Delco. In 1924, Sanders found himself in Winchester, Kentucky, working as a salesman for Michelin. Unfortunately, the company shut down its plant that same year, leaving Sanders jobless. However, luck turned his way when he met the general manager of Standard Oil of Kentucky, who offered him a job running a service station in Nicholasville. Sanders ran the station successfully for 6 years until the Great Depression hit, forcing its closure in 1930. But fortune smiled upon him when Shell Oil Company offered him a service station in North Corbin, Kentucky, with payment based on a percentage of sales. It was here that Sanders reignited his passion for cooking, whipping up meals for customers from his living quarters behind the station. In 1937, Sanders took a bold step and opened Sanders Court and Cafe, a restaurant with seating for 142 people. Amidst his entrepreneurial journey, Sanders found himself involved in a shootout incident. Remarkably, this incident inadvertently eliminated his local competitor, Matt Stewart, who had tragically taken the life of a Shell employee. In 1935, Sanders Cafe, gas station, and motel gained popularity, leading to Kentucky Governor Ruby Laffoon commissioning Sanders as a Kentucky colonel. As Sanders' local fame and culinary skills flourished, renowned food critic Duncan Hines visited his restaurant in 1939. Impressed by the food, Hines praised it in his journal, recommending it as a must-stop on the route to Cumberland Falls. That same year, Sanders expanded his ventures, purchasing a motel in Asheville, North Carolina. However, in November, disaster struck as Sanders Court and Cafe burned down. Undeterred, Sanders rebuilt, reopening with a new motel complex adjacent to the restaurant. Despite setbacks, Sanders' business continued to thrive along the main route through central Kentucky. In 1941, Sanders perfected his secret recipe for pressure-fried chicken, revolutionizing cooking times. However, with the onset of World War II in 1941, gas shortages and declining tourism forced Sanders to close his Asheville motel. Seeking new opportunities, Sanders left his mistress, Claudia Ludington Price, to manage Sanders Court and Cafe while he supervised government cafeterias in Seattle and Tennessee. In 1947, Sanders sold his defunct Asheville hotel and divorced his estranged wife, Josephine. Finally, in 1949, Sanders fulfilled his long-desired wish by marrying Claudia. Recommissioned as a Kentucky colonel the following year, Sanders embraced the role with his signature Southern charm. Despite these honors, at age 60, Sanders still felt a sense of failure for not establishing a successful restaurant chain. Little did he know, his greatest achievement was yet to come. In 1952, Sanders saw potential in franchising his secret recipe for Kentucky Fried Chicken. His first franchise deal with Pete Harmon of South Salt Lake, Utah, was a major success, tripling sales in just 1 year. However, in 1956, Sanders faced another setback when a new interstate highway bypassed his service station, leading to reduced customer traffic. Forced to sell and retire at 65, Sanders found himself broke, relying solely on his savings and a modest Social Security income. Feeling defeated, Sanders contemplated suicide, but had a change of heart when he realized his talent lay in cooking. In 1959, he moved to Shelbyville, Kentucky with his wife Claudia, and with a small loan and determination, he began selling his fried chicken recipe door to door. Despite numerous rejections, Sanders persisted until he finally found potential franchisees on his 1009th attempt. By the mid-1960s, Sanders' KFC franchise had become a global sensation, with outlets popping up in Canada, the UK, Australia, Mexico, and Jamaica. To safeguard his secret recipe, Sanders obtained a patent and trademarked the phrase, "It's finger-lickin' good," in 1963. In 1964, KFC's success soared, boasting over 600 franchises worldwide. At 73, Sanders felt it was time to pass the torch due to his age. He sold the Kentucky Fried Chicken Corporation for a cool $2 million to a group of Kentucky businessmen led by John Y. Brown Jr. and Jack C. Macy. Satisfied with achieving his dreams, Sanders became a brand ambassador for KFC, earning a hefty annual salary of $250,000. He also retained control of the Canadian franchises and franchising rights in the UK, Florida, Utah, and Montana. In 1965, Sanders embarked on a new chapter in Mississauga, Ontario, overseeing KFC's Canadian franchises while occasionally making appearances in the United States as the iconic Colonel. Despite selling the company, Sanders remained its beloved symbol, starring in TV commercials and representing the brand. Under the helm of new owners, KFC experienced an unprecedented period of growth, rapidly expanding to an astounding 3,400 locations by the close of the 1970s. This meteoric rise positioned KFC as the undisputed leader in the fast food arena, outpacing even the mighty McDonald's in sheer size. With a formidable presence in virtually every market, KFC towered over its competitors, dominating the landscape of chicken-centric eateries. The magnitude of KFC's success during this era is difficult to overstate. With their unparalleled reach and widespread popularity, they effectively cornered the market, leaving little room for other players to make a dent. In fact, many of the fast food chicken restaurants we know today were mere blips on the culinary radar, if they existed at all, in comparison to the colossal empire that KFC had become. However, as the years rolled on and the fast food landscape evolved, KFC found itself facing a new set of challenges. The competitive landscape became increasingly crowded, with emerging rivals vying for a slice of the lucrative fast food pie. This intensified competition, combined with shifting consumer preferences and market dynamics, presented KFC with a formidable uphill battle. In the 1990s, Boston market captured the public's imagination with its rotisserie chicken offerings, prompting KFC to follow suit by introducing a similar option in 2013. However, the rise of competitors like Chick-fil-A presented a more significant challenge. By 2013, Chick-fil-A had surpassed KFC to become the highest-selling chicken restaurant in the United States, a title KFC had held for over 50 years, despite operating fewer locations. In 1971, KFC was purchased by Heublein for $285 million. Heublein, known for producing popular alcoholic beverages like Smirnoff vodka, continued to expand the KFC brand aggressively over the next decade, growing the number of restaurants to nearly 6,000 by the 1980s. However, this rapid expansion came at a cost, as corners were cut to streamline operations and reduce costs, often sacrificing quality in the process. This decline in quality did not go unnoticed, especially by Colonel Sanders himself. Throughout the 1970s, he openly criticized the changes made to his original recipes, signaling a disconnect between the brand's founding principles and its current practices. Colonel Sanders didn't hold back when criticizing KFC's menu changes, likening the gravy to wallpaper paste and dubbing the extra crispy chicken as fried dough balls stuck on chicken. Despite KFC's attempt to sue him over these statements, the sacrifices made to the menu were evident. One major issue was KFC's departure from its core product, fried chicken. In the late 1960s, they ventured into spare ribs and roast beef, diluting their identity. They even launched a spin-off chain called Kentucky Roast Beef, which saw moderate success before ultimately shutting down. In 1982, R.J. Reynolds, America's largest cigarette maker at the time, acquired KFC along with Heublein. However, after just 4 years, they sold KFC to Pepsi for $850 million. This move made sense as Pepsi had previously acquired Pizza Hut and Taco Bell, both known for successful menu innovations. With Pepsi at the helm, KFC's menu saw potential for revitalization, especially with the switch from Coke to Pepsi products. Despite pouring millions into a dedicated complex, KFC's efforts to introduce new products failed to deliver the anticipated returns. In 1997, under Pepsi's stewardship, KFC, along with other eateries, became part of Tricon, later rebranded as Yum Brands. Despite Yum Brands exploring innovative strategies like co-branding, KFC remained a steadfast fixture in the fast food landscape. Marketing emerged as another stumbling block. With the passing of Colonel Sanders in 1980, KFC lost its beloved spokesperson, The brand struggled to replicate the magic of its earlier campaigns, with attempts at new approaches like cartoon depictions and celebrity portrayals falling short of the mark. In 2015, a substantial $185 million investment saw various celebrities donning the Colonel's iconic attire, sparking debate over its effectiveness and appropriateness. Despite these efforts, KFC continues to grapple with marketing challenges. In 2009, KFC scored a hit with their grilled chicken menu item, but the marketing strategy left much to be desired. KFC sent a letter to the UN, proposing the recognition of Grilled Nation, comprising the 60 million people who enjoyed their new product. To add to the spectacle, someone dressed as Colonel Sanders even made their way into restricted areas of the UN building, shaking hands with important figures. This unconventional approach may have been well-intentioned, but was ultimately seen as misguided and potentially disrespectful. The grilled chicken promotion took another misstep when Oprah Winfrey promoted a deal on her show, offering viewers a coupon for a free meal. The response was overwhelming, with too many people turning up, resulting in long wait times and KFC being unable to honor all the coupons. This incident only added to the negative publicity surrounding KFC's marketing efforts at the time. Another factor potentially contributing to their decline could be health concerns. While I'm no expert on dietary choices, KFC is often perceived as one of the less healthy dining options. As public awareness of health issues has grown, especially compared to their dominant years in the 1970s, this hasn't boded well for KFC. After all, their name does include fried. In an attempt to address this perception, KFC officially changed its name to the initials KFC in 1991 to eliminate the word fried. They also tried introducing healthier menu items, but these didn't gain much traction. In the early 2000s, they launched a campaign claiming KFC stood for Kitchen Fresh Chicken, seemingly aiming for a healthier image. However, in 2006, they faced a lawsuit over the high trans fat content in their menu items. To address this, they committed to phasing out trans fats from their cooking oil. Despite efforts like these, KFC still faced challenges in shedding its unhealthy image. For instance, the introduction of the Double Down sandwich in 2010, which used fried chicken instead of bread, drew criticism for its perceived lack of healthiness. All in all, it's been an ongoing struggle for KFC to position itself as even a moderately healthy choice. KFC has grappled with several issues that have tarnished its image over time. Firstly, their relationship with franchisees has often been rocky, leading to discord within the KFC community. Additionally, they've faced consistent criticism from animal rights groups, highlighting concerns about their sourcing and treatment of poultry. Moreover, when it comes to updating their restaurants, KFC has often been accused of lagging behind the times. While competitors revamp their establishments to keep pace with evolving consumer preferences, KFC's renovations sometimes seem overdue, failing to impress modern diners. Customer service woes further compound their problems. In an industry where service can make or break a brand, KFC's reputation in this regard has taken a hit. This is particularly significant when compared to Chick-fil-A, a direct competitor celebrated for its exceptional customer experience. Adding fuel to the fire, the decision to change their name to initials in 1991 sparked wild rumors, including the notorious speculation about genetically modified chickens. Despite being debunked, these rumors linger, casting a shadow over KFC's reputation. However, KFC has seen remarkable success in various international markets, particularly in China. They were pioneers, being the first U.S. fast food chain to venture into China in the 1980s, offering a menu tailored to local tastes. Leveraging this early entry, they've become one of the most recognizable U.S. brands in the country. By 1997, KFC's international locations surpassed those in the U.S., now accounting for over 80% of their total outlets. With much of their focus directed towards foreign expansion, it's understandable why their presence in the U.S. may have slipped. This global success story sheds light on yet another factor contributing to KFC's struggles domestically. Despite KFC's considerable success, there are indications that the company is nearing the end of its rope. Rather than tackling declining consumer sentiment and loyalty in the U.S., KFC seems to be placing its bets on international growth to compensate for domestic struggles. This approach involves minimal efforts to maintain relevance at home while prioritizing expansion in overseas markets. The core of KFC's strategy appears to revolve around leveraging its brand equity in regions where the Colonel's legacy still carries weight and where competition from other fast food giants is less intense. These international markets represent a stronghold for KFC, offering opportunities for growth and profitability that may no longer be as readily available in its home country. While KFC's global presence remains formidable, with a strong foothold in numerous countries, its future trajectory in the US remains uncertain. KFC's approach seems to differ drastically between its international and domestic operations. Overseas, the company invests in creating inviting, modern stores with spacious dining areas and regularly introduces new and innovative menu items. However, in the United States, KFC stores often appear outdated and lackluster, with subpar dining spaces and a menu that fails to excite. This stark contrast paints a picture of KFC as two distinct entities, a thriving global chain and a struggling, unpopular brand in America. Despite its success abroad, KFC seems oblivious to the reality that success driven by factors like being a pioneer in the market, brand legacy, and financial resources can be short-lived, especially in a rapidly evolving industry like fast food. In today's landscape, it's no longer enough for a brand to rely solely on its reputation. Consumers demand quality and innovation, and KFC's failure to adapt to these changing preferences may ultimately jeopardize its future. In the years leading up to 2015, KFC in America found itself in dire straits. With fried foods falling out of favor and health concerns rising, the company faced a significant challenge. A highly publicized dispute with its franchisees over the introduction of healthier grilled chicken options further exacerbated the situation. Confused customers and poor sales ensued, prompting franchisees to unite against what they viewed as self-destructive decisions by the executive team. Like many other fast food giants during the early to mid-2010s, KFC grappled with both external pressures and internal conflicts. Attempting to navigate these challenges while maintaining harmony with franchisees proved to be an uphill battle. Consequently, the company experienced stagnation in revenue, system sales, and operating profit from 2013 to 2015. As KFC faced uncertainty at home, the company outlined two key strategies to its shareholders: transitioning to franchise-led growth and establishing itself as the fried chicken leader in emerging international markets. However, between 2013 and 2015, KFC's attempts to rejuvenate its US operations fell flat with a string of lackluster menu offerings, including the underwhelming Colonel's Original Sandwich and the uninspired Original Recipe and Hotshot Bites. Meanwhile, executives shifted their focus to highlighting KFC's impressive international achievements, boasting about substantial sales growth in Russia, Africa, and Thailand. By 2015, a staggering 92% of KFC outlets worldwide were franchised, with Americans contributing only 24% of the company's sales. With 70% of KFC stores already operating outside the United States, international expansion and franchise-led growth were not new endeavors for the company, but rather long-standing initiatives. In 2016, KFC launched a bold initiative known as the Re-Kernelization Plan, aimed at reclaiming its lost ground in the US market. This ambitious strategy was unveiled amidst a flurry of negative publicity, including incidents involving mutant chickens and a deep-fried rat, which had eroded public trust in the brand's sanitation and standards. Corporate executives viewed the decline in America as a result of years of neglect and sloppiness, whether due to complacency, excessive focus on international expansion, or franchisee laziness. Recognizing the urgent need for change, KFC took decisive action to restore food quality, operator discipline, and consumer confidence. The company implemented stringent measures, including the temporary closure of franchise stores nationwide, the introduction of a mandatory Chicken Mastery certification program for all franchisees, and comprehensive retraining for its 20,000 operators. These efforts underscored KFC's commitment to competing on quality and regaining lost ground to competitors like Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, and regional players such as Bojangles and Zaxby's. Despite KFC's efforts to revitalize its brand in the United States, the underlying challenges remained unaddressed. While initiatives like the Re-Kernelization Plan aimed to improve food quality and consumer confidence, the company's reliance on legacy marketing and value-driven menu items wasn't enough to reverse its declining fortunes domestically. KFC's struggles in the US market were further underscored by the rise of competitors like Chick-fil-A and Popeyes, which offered not only quality food, but also superior customer experiences. Despite successful launches like the Nashville Hot and Georgia Gold Chicken, KFC failed to sustain its momentum, and its store closures continued unabated. The company's international business, on the other hand, thrived in emerging markets like Brazil and Russia, where aggressive expansion and innovative menu offerings drove significant sales growth. By 2017, KFC's international operations accounted for the bulk of its profits, while its U.S. business languished. As the disparity between its domestic and international performance widened, KFC faced the harsh reality of diminishing relevance in its home market. Despite attempts to reclaim lost ground, the company's struggles in the U.S. persisted, with declining sales and market share signaling a long-term decline that even predated the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. Between 2017 and 2019, KFC executives faced a stark reality. The U.S. business was no longer a priority. Despite attempts at menu innovation with items like pickle fried chicken and the crispy kernel sandwich, these efforts failed to generate sustained success. Unlike Taco Bell's strategy of frequent limited-time offerings, KFC's gimmicky items in the U.S. market lacked lasting appeal. In contrast, products introduced for international markets, such as peri-peri chicken in Japan and the Crunch Double Down in Africa, were celebrated for their commercial success. Today, KFC's strategy in the U.S. revolves around value rather than quality, with a focus on affordable options like the $5 fill-up and family meal offerings. Marketing efforts in the U.S. center on highlighting KFC's affordability, often through gimmicky stunts for virality. However, these tactics stray from the core product and brand. KFC's legacy and brand power have propelled its international success, but in the U.S., the company faces declining relevance and fierce competition from rivals like Popeyes and Chick-fil-A. Recognizing the limitations of its legacy, KFC understands that attempting to regain domestic market share would be futile without addressing quality concerns. The franchise model, once a source of expansion and dominance, now hampers KFC's ability to adapt to changing consumer tastes and preferences. Now we're curious about your thoughts. Do you believe these reasons explain KFC's downfall, or do you think there are other factors at play? Share your opinions in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. If you found this video insightful, then you'd love to check out the video on your screen now. Click, and I'll catch you in the next one.